grew up in Buffalo, New York. I had a single-parent household. My mother raised me. And although I've done some things in my life, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my mother because she puts me to shame. My mother, she grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. And while I haven't been to Cincinnati and actually gotten to see the area, I've heard there are some very nice parts of Cincinnati. She did not grow up in one of those parts. She grew up in a very rough neighborhood. Her parents, her mother never finished middle school. She was a seamstress. Her father never finished high school. He worked at GM. And even though her parents, they didn't push academics, they didn't push her to be a good student, she worked hard in the classroom, and she actually ended up being the #1 student in her class. Ever since I was a child, my mother always instilled in me a sense of trying to be the best and always trying to do better. No matter how well I did as a child, I would come home, 3rd grade, 4th grade, I'd have my math test. I'd have a 97, a 98. And I'd show it to her all excited, and she'd say, "John, that's good, but you can do better." And that's why I believe that math is such a critical field. I think being able to think quantitatively, not just to know what 2 plus 2 is, or how to factor a polynomial. It's how it trains your brain when you work through math. You learn how to think quantitatively. You learn how to work through problems. And then Jim, he brought me in here, thankfully, and he showed me some of their curriculum. And let me tell you, I've been around a lot of different tutoring centers. I tutored at Penn State. I was an instructor at Penn State as well. And Jim has the right techniques here. A way to teach mathematics where it's interesting, where it's back and forth and dynamic, and most importantly, where it's fun. Any questions you may have? Here we go.
As a mom with 3 kids, sometimes I see parallels between having to do their homework and having to go to their sports practices. In other words, sometimes they interfere with other things they might want to be doing. Did you find parallels as you obviously work very hard to become part of the NFL? Are there times when it's just as hard to go to your sports practice as it might be to finish your thesis paper or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, to be the best at it, it just takes hours and it takes hard work. You might not always feel like doing it, but as a football player, sometimes you just have to suck it up and you have to fight through that. And you have to try to work to get better and also try to enjoy the process. And that's no different academically. Homework's there for a reason. Just like you have to go to football practice to play in the games, you have to do your homework and succeed so that you can do well in the tests. I think children are capable of some amazing things if they're just given the right direction and just the right support system.
So John, do the Ravens players hate the Steelers as much as the fans?
Oh, it's right. I think it's right in line with the fans. I believe so. Most teams it's not like that, but with the Steelers, yes.
12 times 12.
That would be 144, sir.